Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk Bible. I'm Sonny Childs. Okay, folks, it's time for the next section in the Sermon on the Mount. This next section deals with the law and the prophets, the Old Testament setting, and what are you and I supposed to do with that? So that's kind of where we're going to go with this particular thing. Oops, better shut my door to Mr. Ugly. Get our passage up here. It comes from Matthew chapter 5, verses 17 through 18. Had to write it small. Hope you can see it. If you can't, look at it in your own Bible. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter nor the least stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. Hopefully you can see the phrases I have underlined here. 3 make it real applications, if you will. What do I do with my make it real thingy dingy? There it is. Let's see, where can I put that? Get it over here. Can you still see that? Oh no. There we go. Make it real. Why is the Old Testament still even in our Bible? You know, a lot of folks just don't even deal with the Old Testament much. You don't hear a lot of sermons out of the Old Testament unless they're doing something on the 10 Commandments or something like that. Why is it even in there? That's what this particular section is about with regards to the Sermon on the Mount. I think it makes an interesting application, one that I've not heard a lot of preachers actually make. 3 things that I want you to see from this passage. Number 1, I want you to notice the study versus the assume, which is a major application for the church today. Notice that he says here, do not think. I think there's an implication here that some folks had just drawn some conclusions that weren't really rooted in the authority, which was Jesus and his words. He said, don't think that I've come for the purposes that you suggest that I have to have come from or for. There's a lot of folks in this world who put a lot of stock in human wisdom. They constantly are seeking out and searching for the validation that comes from man, sometimes even before they take it upon themselves, use a little bit of initiative to search out the Bible, what the Bible has to say. I'm in the middle of a summer teaching young people how to become missionaries to America, and I guess if there's one theme I try to get into their heart as much as possible, it is this: always let the Bible interpret the Bible. The Bible's from God, and so if God is used to interpret God, you're likely to end up with God's message. If you allow mankind to constantly insert their viewpoint with regards to what they think God should have said or what they think God might have meant by that particular phrase or text, you're bound to at some point gain a skewed view of what God really wants us to have. My suggestion to you with regards to make it real suggestion is this: break the addiction. What addiction? The addiction that we have with commentaries and Bible study helps and all of those things are good. I use them myself, but there's an addiction that can come about so often that it encourages us to go to them first rather than sitting down with a text, having a little prayer time with God, maybe even just giving it time and allowing God to speak through events in your life and things that take place. We so often default to man's wisdom so rapidly that we fail to be still and let God speak. Number 2, notice the difference between fulfill and abolish. He says, I have not come to, don't think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but I've come to fulfill them. What's the difference between the two? Well, obviously abolish is almost like erasing. Kind of reminds me of some of the nutso stuff that's happening in our culture today with those who are trying to rewrite history or those who are tearing down statues